Well, joining me now from Canberra is One Nation Leader Pauline Hanson. Senator Hanson, thanks so much for coming on the program. I want to talk to you about your extraordinary rise in the polls in just a moment. But before we get to that, your thoughts on what we heard in Canberra today, all of these speeches and motions of condolences. Did the speeches encourage you that our MPs understand the gravity of the threat we face from radical Islam and are prepared to take the necessary action?
Not at all, James. And to listen to the Prime Minister, it sounds so weak, pathetic, it wasn't hitting the mark, it was all rhetoric, the same old promises, nothing happens. And to listen to Wish Wilson and the Greens, you're right, they don't care about the Australian way of life. I don't know if it's really hit home of how important this is to the Australian people, how we react as politicians and legislation, how to combat what is happening on our streets. When I went to Bondi, you know what people are fear of and what they said to me? They said, Pauline, we don't know if we feel safe anymore in our own country. We don't know if we can let our children go down the streets, where they go, what they do. They're in fear. People are in fear. And yet the politicians just, pat themselves on the back and carry on, and they won't tackle what the real issue is radical Islam, the fundamentalist problems that we have here. Instead of worrying about how we're going to deal with hate speech, don't bring these people in the country in the first place.
Yep,
anyway.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. In fact, I felt we all need condolences for the condolence motions, most of which were pretty pathetic today. Now, your vote, meanwhile, continues to surge. The latest news poll having One Nation's primary vote on 22%, ahead of the coalition for the first time in history. So you've got to be pretty chuffed with that. Why are you succeeding while Susan Lee, who I actually thought made a pretty good speech today, to be fair, but why are you succeeding while she's losing ground?
Because I'm not an opportunist politician. I'm not a career politician. I'm a person that's been here first elected nearly 30 years ago. On the 2nd of March of this year, for 30 years, I've been in politics, 18 years out of Parliament. James, it's about standing up and speaking from the heart and connecting with people. And a lot of things that I said back then against multiculturalism, what it stands for, what it is, about the mass migration, about climate change, about the people we bring into the country, and I was ridiculed. I was put down, condemned, criticised, you name it, went to jail over my convictions, what I believed in, to try and get rid of me. It's been time and time again from state and federal politicians that wanted to get rid of me and One Nation, what I stand for. The people now have woken up. They realise now, and it wasn't just the Bondi, this happened prior to it with the Charlie Kirk assassination, that the younger ones are starting to wake up. People are starting to realise that the politicians there are there for their own self-interest, pushing an agenda on us, that's globalisation, that it's not in our best interest. So Australians are saying, hang on a minute, we're going to take a better look at this woman, what she stands for. And I'm so humbled by the support that I'm getting, but my job is only just starting.
Well, you make a great point that this is an encouraging result, but it's not an election. So how do you lock in this vote at the next election so that it's not just a protest vote, but it actually translates into seats for One Nation and genuine influence?
People want true leadership. Don't tell them the same old rhetoric and give them promises that you won't, follow through on. People want to see clear policies that you are going to implement to improve their lives and for the lives of their future generations and for this nation. We don't see that from these politicians. It's from one election to the next. I think that, I'll be rolling out my policies, what I intend to implement in Australia for the Australian people. It's all about dedication, patriotism, that you believe in your country, you believe in the people out there. Whether you're born here or whether you migrated here, we're all Australians, should be treated equally and the same. That's been my policy from day one, from 30 years ago. And until we see that, forget about the diversity. You know, there's enough diversity, but the whole fact is that we must feel that we are Australians with the one culture, one goal, and to live in peace and harmony. And I don't want these people in this country who don't want to be Australian. Go back where you came from. I don't care. Leave the country. I'll put you on a plane, send you off. I'll pay for the ticket.
I absolutely agree with you that any politician now who's emphasising how great diversity is honestly should be dismissed. We need our politicians emphasising the need for unity and uniting around what Australians have in common and our Australian values. Someone who's not that excited about your great polling is Anthony Albanese. He was on radio with Kyle and Jackie O this morning. He says he's worried, quote unquote, about One Nation's rise. Have a listen to him.
Oh, it's a worry because they can appeal to grievance, but they're a pretty divisive lot. I'm a believer in mainstream politics.
Your response when you heard that?
I've got to laugh about that, really. Divisive. This man who wanted to introduce the voice that makes it divisive so we don't make a vote for our politicians to represent us as one, but wanted another voice to Parliament to allow people of a different culture to have that say. This man, you know, who didn't deal with anti-Semitism in the country, honestly, divisive. You know, that's a pot calling the kettle black. What a hypocrite he is. I've got no time for him. The worst Prime Minister this country has ever had. Yes, he should be worried. And I tell you what, Anthony Albanese, I'm coming after you. I want to see you gone from being Prime Minister of this country at the next election, and I'm going to work my butt off it to make it happen.
Pauline, I reckon divisive has become the most overused word in Australian politics. It used to be that if you wanted to dismiss your opponent, you'd just label them a racist. Now you label them divisive, and that apparently is all it takes to write them off. One more quick question before I let you go. While Labor and the Coalition are in talks tonight, Susan Lee is under real pressure from her party to walk away from any deal with Labor on their watered-down anti-Semitism laws. Labor have stripped out some of the toughest parts to try to get it through, but the Coalition is still arguing over safeguards, especially around giving a minister the power to ban organisations deemed to be hate groups. So I want to ask you about that. Do you trust Tony Burke to have the power to declare and ban a hate group, or is that power he should not have because it could too easily be abused?
I don't trust Tony Burke at all. He welcomed the ISIS brides in and the Ghazians that he brought in from Palestine, who are big supporters of terrorist organisations, Hamas. And the whole fact is, Susan Lee, if you're doing deals with the Labor Party over this hate speech bill, you are pathetic. You're a loser, because I tell you what, you're only band-aiding what could actually impact on Australians having their freedom of expression in this country. So you just vote it down. You do not deal with the Labor Party or the Greens on this bill that is absolutely a dog's breakfast, and it should not even be considered.
Senator Hanson, I appreciate your time tonight, and congratulations on your great poll results. More power to you. Thanks for your time.